Welcome everyone to OnPodcast, the On Microsoft podcast, where we talk about Microsoft stuff on a podcast. I'm your co-host today, Kareem Anderson. I'm joined by the world's greatest co-host,
Arif Vakis.
and this is week two of Satya Nadella not coming on to the podcast to talk about all of the great ideas we have and to figure out ways to make Windows and Microsoft better. So we'll keep the countdown going until he shows up, and we can start all over from zero when he does. Until then, we will bring you the news, and there's actually fair bit of news in what would otherwise be a pretty slow week for tech news in general. So, starting off, we have some information about the Windows 11 File Explorer that was brought to us by the Microsoft event that happened earlier this week. What else is there?
There's also some news about the Microsoft Journal app, which we talked about this time last year. I think it was episode 22, where we talked about when it was a Microsoft Garage project, but now it's an official Microsoft app and it has left the garage.
See, if you wait long enough, folks, things will become official. And if you wait even longer, they will probably wind up in the Microsoft graveyard. So
uh,
stay tuned. We also have Microsoft PowerToys that will be adding a feature. And hopefully, just like in the garage thing where Microsoft tests out some stuff, maybe this will become an official part of Windows 11. So we'll get into the details of this new feature as well.
Then we have our fast recap. Last week we lied to you. We said we would get it done in 10 minutes, but it was 10 minutes and I think probably 30 seconds. But this week we're making sure we'll get all of this in 10 minutes. And there is a ton of stuff. We have stuff about Xbox April 2022 update, the Surface Laptop Studio getting a new feature via the software, Start 11 news, as well as some shakeups at Microsoft and news about Microsoft Edge version 100.
Yeah, then we have some information about sort of a mini reorg that kind of is going under the radar. And then we jump into what we have as far as our week ahead.
Yeah, there's some news about Microsoft Inspire shifting its dates.
Yeah, and then we'll also be talking about Microsoft celebrating Earth Day by showcasing some very eco-friendly laptops. Again, their partners talk about these things, but Microsoft kind of aggregates all of it for us to kind of digest really easily.
And there's news about Halo 2, which I know you're a big fan of after watching the show last week on YouTube.
Yeah, season two for Halo Infinite should be coming up pretty soon. And then we'll be talking about Apple scheduling WWDC. We're getting into uh, conference season, so we'll be keeping up to date with those as they come in.
And I'll get us started here with the big news, which is the Windows 11 File Explorer getting a big redesign. Well, redesign in quotes. It depends on how you look at it, because we talked a couple weeks ago about the tabbed experience that leaked with Windows Insiders. It was hidden in the code, and some Windows Insiders managed to unlock it. Well, this is pretty much what the redesigned File Explorer is. It was one of the big highlights out of the April 5th Windows Powers the Future of Hybrid Work event that happened. And Panos Panay mentioned in a blog post that some of these features that we're about to talk about are designed to make it easier to help you find what you're looking for in Windows. Uh, Warning up front, he didn't specifically say when Windows 11 will be getting the redesigned File Explorer, but I'm assuming it will have to be tested with officially with Windows Insiders first, and then it'll roll out to everyone yet. But if you missed the event and you missed the news and you've been living under a rock and you haven't been keeping up with the Windows 11 news, we just want to recap what exactly this new File Explorer is.
Yeah, it's tabbed experience basically. So
Yep.
I think, as you mentioned 2 weeks ago or whatever, it's very much reminiscent of anything you use as far as the browser is concerned. What it'll do is it'll replicate another instance of the File Explorer within one window. So you don't need to right click or double, whatever key combinations you use to open up a secondary File Explorer instance in order to transfer files, copy paste information, gather data from one window to another. And it's only for File Explorer. I know that we'd mentioned, I don't know, 2, 3 years ago, sets was
So,
something
yep.
that Microsoft wanted to roll out for basically every application. This would have been up to developers to implement it, but it would have been a framework in order to open up multiple instances of applications, Windows, and other things on the desktop. Since then, they've canceled it and kind of just refocused on doing it just in File Explorer. During the presentation that they gave this week, they kind of gave some examples on how this can be useful. This is, as you said, part of the redesign is also coming with comments. I think is one we're going to kind of get into when we get into the features of Windows 11 that were presented at this event. But as far as File Explorer, there are going to be comments that people will be able to use when you collaborate on different documents. So if you're if we used a PowerPoint together and we made different edits, things like that, that information would appear in the File Explorer under under the description of that file itself. So just a quick way to keep you up to date, and this is how they're one of the ways that they're going to have Windows 11 help enterprise along with the rest of us consumers.
And it wasn't not live code for everything that we saw. I know it was going wrong on Twitter during the event. It wasn't like someone actually typing on a PC and moving their mouse around. It was kind of more like a simulation or like a mock-up of what they want it to look like. So I'm assuming it's not ready yet. But like Kareem said, whenever it's ready, you'll have your new tab bar at the top of the File Explorer window. You click a plus button, creates a new tab. You can organize the tabs, and then you also get a redesigned home page in that File Explorer. You instead of having your quick access, now when you open File Explorer, quick access has turned into home, and you'll get your core folders there, and you'll see, like Kareem mentioned, you're able to see frequent files that you've collaborated on, files that you favorited, and also your usual quick access folders up top.
Yeah, and like you said, for those of you who are still under a rock, welcome. We're in the present now. There are things like quick pinning to quick access. I believe is an insider thing as of right now. So that's another thing that they were going over, which is old news for us insiders, but will be big news when this full final official File Explorer rollout does happen. So they're just tweaking ways to make File Explorer more accessible and more useful in the future. As far as the other features, the other big features from the event, they were mostly enterprise stuff about endpoint management and how to deploy cloud versions of Windows much easier. So again, this leads towards the hybridization of work. So if you are given a device, or if you're not given a device, but you need your workstation to be replicated at home, there are ways that they're giving IT admins quicker ways through Microsoft Endpoint Manager to deploy those to you and get them to you more securely, protect your personal data through encryption, configure lock, and all these other things were kind of mentioned during the event. So while there might not have been what I was hoping for, which was a reveal of One Outlook on the Surface Laptop 5 with the Surface Duo 3 being shown, all
we
these
were
great
so
things.
wrong. We were so wrong last week. No, our expectations
Yeah,
were not met.
none
But
of that.
there are a bunch of security stuff too. Microsoft announced Smart App Control and Credential Guard for Windows 11. Basically, we talked about Smart App Control a couple weeks ago when Microsoft mentioned it in a blog post. But the Credential Guard thing is new. It's basically going to let you know if you're opening up a window and you're entering in your Microsoft account information. It's going to tell you, hey, this doesn't look right to me. This is fraudulent and this is a phishing attempt. Don't enter in your information in this window.
Super useful, especially in this day of age of increased malware and phishing attacks, things like that. So it just gives, and I think this is going to be for all of Windows, or is this just an enterprise thing?
It's going to come by default on all Windows 11 installations, not just enterprise.
Great. So you will be protected from yourself, thankfully.
Then Microsoft also promoted the features that were already announced for Windows 11 that you Windows insiders have been testing. This is app folders in the start menu, live captions, as well as the focus sessions thing in the Action Center, and also the touch snap layouts thing that you get when you drag your finger towards the middle of the screen.
Yeah, they did a heavy demo of 3-paneled windows side by side. Just kind of being able to take your window, bring it to the top of your screen, and get a bunch of different layout options to kind of organize yourself. Again, sort of boring for people who are hoping for new hardware like myself, but super interesting if you're in enterprise.
That also gets us into the Windows 365 features that they announced at the event. They're basically making it easier to get into Windows 365 itself, which is basically a cloud enterprise cloud PCs. So now they're introducing Windows 365 Boot, which will let you boot into Windows 365 instead of Windows 11 when you turn on your PC. There's also Windows 365 Switch, which adds your cloud PC to I think it's the task manager. the thing in the Windows 11 desktop where you could switch between your open desktops, whatever that is, you could add your Windows 365 PCs to that too. And then they're also trying to introduce a way to keep your Windows 365 PC offline. Like you boot it up online and then you could work with it while you're offline.
Yeah, again, all great features, and we'll probably be hearing more about them during build, I would assume.
Yep. And now get us into our second topic, which is Microsoft Journal becoming an official Microsoft app.
Yeah, it was interesting. You think they'd want to celebrate this, but it seemed like they were slide this one under the radar. It came in on a Wednesday night, Tuesday night, or something
Yep.
like that, in a small press announcement, basically saying that Microsoft Journal, which I believe has been in testing for almost 2 years or so, is
Yep.
now an app that you can get from the Microsoft Store, is officially supported by Microsoft, and we'll be getting updates and features via the Microsoft Store. It's a super cool app. It kind of is, if you're a super OneNote user, it's a little bit redundant. But if you're new to note taking apps, or if you're used to the way note taking apps work on mobile, this would be a great transition into the Microsoft version of this. It's got a ton of great features on it, different layouts, different formats, different pages and linings, different ways to organize stuff, different ways to upload different types of content as far as media is concerned, videos, pictures, things like that. It's really a more digital version of a journal and notebook than OneNote actually would be. So, like I said, if you're having a OneNote, this may not be the app for you, but if you are used to quick access note taking apps like on your phone or on a tablet, I think this is the one for you. It has great pin support as well. So if you're used to, if you're at school and you need to take quick notes and you don't have time to organize them the way that OneNote would like you to, this is a good way. This is a good app. I think you should try out.
A lot of people were using it for PDF inking because Microsoft had a little graph in their announcement, and they said that data shows that 41% of pages in the app were blank canvas and 59% of pages in the app were PDF. So some people are using Journal as a PDF editor.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I think Edge does this by default as well, and I don't think people, when certain people get set in their ways, they don't think of using the browser as something that you ink on or draw on. You just kind
Yeah.
of scroll with your mouse, stuff like that. You're more apt to find an app that uses pen support to be your inking thing. So, to your point, if you don't want to pay for Adobe Acrobat Reader or anything like that, this would be a great substitute for something like that.
And now that it is a Microsoft app, Microsoft Oz Solomon, who is the principal engineering manager of the Journal team, he mentioned that the app being supported by Microsoft means the team can address common requests and a big backlog of new features. So keep your eyes peeled. There will be new features coming to Microsoft Journal in the future.
Yeah, I'm hoping one of those features is an Android app because this is, I think, the successor to Courier essentially. Like if you put that on a Duo, you will have what everyone thought they were going to get it back in 2007 or eight or whatever when the Courier was sort of a concept idea. I think, like I said, this is the app that I think will be showcased on the Duo 3 if things go according to my plan.
Let's see if you're right. You have a tendency to be right about these things.
Yeah, just not events apparently.
So anyway, moving to our third topic, it's Microsoft PowerToys possibly getting a Mac OS like peek feature to preview items in the File Explorer. So if you're like Kareem and you don't use a Mac every day, then you know what the peek feature is. If you put your mouse on a photo in Mac OS or a specific file in Mac OS, and then you hit the spacebar button, you're able to peek at the file and see a preview of it. Well, a Microsoft during a hack week at Microsoft, a Microsoft employee put together a new PowerToys peek feature, and he says that it is for lightning fast file previews. So it was something created by 4 engineers, according to this Microsoft employee. And right now, it's just a prototype, and the team is looking for feedback from the community based off of the preview video that they put out. But unlike how it works in macOS, where you click the spacebar to preview the files, Microsoft Take will involve using the spacebar and the shift key together, and that's because they don't you can't PowerToys doesn't support the the single key combinations for File Explorer shortcuts. So that's something to look out for. But based off of the video, it looks like it's pretty neat because you won't need to open the File Explorer the Photos app itself to preview the file anymore. If you have a whole bunch of files that you just want to see when you're looking to put something in a slideshow or put something in a presentation or even in a video, you just do that Shift and Spacebar key combination. You'll be able to peek at the file on the fly.
Yeah, this is much better than having to set up your entire File Explorer with the preview window off to the side and kind of manage the sizing of that, because that's how I kind of compensated. There's also, I believe, there's a free Windows app in the Windows Store called Quick Look that does the exact sort of functionality where you can once installed, you can basically hover over something, hit the space bar, and it'll bring up that view. Again, this will bring up the view in full size for you guys, for most people, within a mini window. So you can see all the details that you might necessarily not be able to gather when you have it in the File Explorer itself. Like I said, I hope this becomes an official part of the File Explorer at some point down the line, because from everything I've gathered using whatever the Windows version of this is, the Windows Store version of this is, it's super useful. Like I said, just being able to kind of click on something, especially for anybody who's a content creator. If you need to reference small edits that you've made and maybe Photoshop, something like that, something that you don't feel like opening up the entire app to do, and you need to see it a little closer, or zoomed in, or something like that. Having quick access to that seems like a no-brainer. I'm surprised Microsoft hasn't done this already.
And that said, it's time for our fast recap, and I'm putting 10 minutes on the clock as always. And first part of fast recap is an Xbox console update. So the first feature introduced in this update is the ability to mute sounds in Xbox settings. So basically, the little feedback you get when you swipe through the dashboard or click certain buttons, you can now turn this off if you don't like it. And then the other big feature in the update is the ability to switch the input to the switch your TV input using the Xbox controller, which is a huge deal.
Yeah, and we just set off mic. I was checking to see if this was console related, but it seemed to be only in software. So for those of you who have an Xbox One, this should work. I know that some of us, myself included, got super excited when we were going to do the pass-through, the HDMI pass-through, and be able to kind of just watch TV without having to switch inputs. Since Microsoft's abandoned that, most of us have to go back to flipping through the input, and it's just another way to kind of speed that up for us.
And second topic in fast recap is Surface Laptop Studio getting a voice clarity feature. So we didn't touch on this when we talked about the Windows event, but Microsoft mentioned that Windows 11 is getting some AI enhanced conferencing features like background blur or voice clarity. And most of the features are coming to Qualcomm PCs because they have a neural engine built in. But this Surface Laptop Studio is Intel based, and it's getting what Microsoft is calling voice clarity. And with voice clarity, basically uses the 4 studio mics on the Surface Laptop Studio to clean up the sound of your team's calls. You won't have echoes, you won't have background noises. They'll all be removed from your calls, and there'll also be high bandwidth voice captures as well.
Yeah, and this works as a two-way street. So for anybody who's also using another Surface device, their calls will come into you much more clear. They'll amp the sounds on the speakers and the outputs and stuff like that on your device as well. So it isn't not just your voice is being cleared, but their voice is being cleared as well. Do some filtering for them. And I don't know if it does it for non-Surface devices, like if you're using a Dell, but it's coming in
No,
through a Surface
it's
speaker.
only exclusive to Surface devices for now, and right now, specifically the Surface Laptop Studio. But Microsoft did mention that they have plans to roll it out to other Surface devices in the future.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I mean, it's still software based, but should definitely help out.
And third up is Start 11 version 1.2, now coming out of beta. And it just brings a couple of tweaks to ungrouping taskbar icons in Windows 11, which is still not possible in the regular version of Windows 11. You can ungroup your taskbar icons, but this Start 11 version 1.2 is coming out of beta, and it brings a couple of tweaks, such as the ability to control plus click to group taskbar buttons to cycle through open windows, as well as a slight visual change for the configuration app. It now fits with what Windows 11 looks like.
Yeah, so I mean, if they can do it, Microsoft can do it. So just keep our fingers crossed that they get around to doing it.
And you get into the fourth topic, which is the shakeup at Microsoft's digital transformation group.
Yeah, our previous guest, Mary Jo Foley, keeps an eye on all the organizational kind of ongoings in Microsoft, and she's saying that Charles Lamanna will continue to lead the business applications group after, I believe his name is James Phillips, who has been at the company for 10 years. Will be going on to do some other nondescript job somewhere else. I don't know if it's a job, but he has another opportunity outside of Microsoft that he's going to be taking. And so this isn't necessarily like a firing or even an official reorg. I think this is a reaction to him leaving and the company seeing an opportunity to consolidate and condense things. So what's going to be end up happening is, like I said, Charles Lamanna will continue to be the lead of the business application platforms group. And he'll be joined by the C plus AI leadership team. And they'll both be reporting to Scott Guthrie, I believe. Eric Boyd will continue to lead the AI platform organization and join the C plus AI leadership team as well, which will also report to Guthrie. So, everyone's kind of, consolidating and going, all groups are going to Guthrie as of right now. Rohan Kumar will continue to lead the Azure Data Organization. Again, these are all separate groups that were kind of under Phillips before, but since he's going to be leaving, abdicating the position, they're just going to kind of all sort of float up to Guthrie to kind of take to oversee a lot of this stuff. So again, we don't see anybody being fired or anything like that. Nothing huge. It's just at the executive level. I guess people will have few less meetings and organizers to kind of have to report to.
And that said, the other topic in fast recap is Microsoft Edge version 100 finally hitting the stable channel.
Yeah, we've been talking about Edge 100 for I don't know 2-3 weeks
months
now.
Yeah,
it's because it's been making its way through dev, now through beta, through Canary, now through dev, through beta, and eventually it made its way to everyone else. And so I don't know officially what new features are coming. I think most of the new features came with the version before this. I think it's just a number upgrade for the most part.
Yeah, it's just a couple of features in the user agent string, tweaks for Microsoft 365 applications protocols, hardware enforced stack protection, and some tweaks for previewing and viewing and opening digitally signed PDF files.
Well, so there you go. Not much else to report on except 100. 100, yay!
Yay. It's same thing happened with Google Chrome. They said version 100 and everyone was expecting it to be a big party with a whole bunch of new features, but all they did was change the icon.
Well, that is our fast recap. Hopefully we did it under 10 minutes this time. I think we did. We're pretty close.
I think we do. And now it's time for a week ahead, which is usually your favorite segment.
Yeah, because we get to kind of guess about what's going to be big in the news, and then we get to see ourselves be corrected by next week. With that being said, we have Microsoft shifting days for Inspire. For those of you who were buying your plane tickets, hold up, because it's too early. I don't know why you did that, but
and it's all virtual too anyway, so why would you buy plane ticket?
Even more so. So don't buy any plane tickets, and it's free. It went from, I believe, the 12th through the 13th, is now moved to July 19th to the 20th of 2022. I believe registration officially will be underway in June. So again, you have some time. Microsoft just had a blog post where they kind of updated that. It was an amendment to the post that was mostly focusing on 2 new awards being presented to partners, because Inspire is a Microsoft partner focused event. Each conference has its own focus. Build has developers. What's the one that happens? Cloud developers.
Ignite
is cloud developers. Inspire is basically to try and drum up interest and excitement for selling Microsoft products. The 2 new awards that will be added to this conference or this event will be the Operational Excellence Award. It's for partners who are committed to and recognize the importance of operational excellence to drive partner profitability, digital transformation, consumption, and customer loyalty. The other one is the Compliance Award for partners enabling customer success by delivering expertise through the technologies within the Microsoft Compliance product portfolio and advising customers as they navigate today's compliance challenges. So I believe the deadline for submitting your partner nominees actually is passed already. I believe that was April 5th at around 6 o'clock Pacific time. So fortunately, we're hitting you with this news a little bit later. But hopefully you can submit those people for the new award. I mean, hopefully they'll be recognized for these new awards as well. And these will all be given out during the conference in July.
And second part that we're looking forward to in the week ahead is Earth Day, which is coming up on April 22nd. Well, it's 2 weeks away, but it's still in the weeks ahead. And to celebrate this year, Microsoft is showcasing some very eco-friendly laptops from their partners. Some of the devices include the Acer Aspire Vero, the Asus ExpertBook B9, the Dell Latitude 5000, Dynabook Satellite Pro, HP Elite Dragonfly G3, the Lenovo Yoga 6, which I know you're probably going to get your hands on to review, as well as the Samsung Galaxy Book 2. And a lot of these laptop makers, they're using recycled plastic or ocean-bound plastics, or on their packaging is also recycled. So hit up Microsoft's blog post if you want to see more about how these laptop makers are being green.
Yeah, and you can kind of judge the materials that they're using, see if they abide by anything that you might have for your standards. We'll also be, I think, what was it? WDC is announced. Was it official?
Yep, it's coming up on June 6th to June 10th.
Yeah. So I think they did we already get Google I/O, or were we still waiting on them?
Google I/O is from, let me see here, May 11 to 12, and Microsoft Build is May 24 to 26. So we're approaching that conference season.
Yeah. So we got everyone. We got the big three lined up. Facebook or Meta will have theirs at some point. I think Amazon does one. And those happen. I think those both happen right around WDC, usually in June ish. We won't have E3 to compete with this year as far as conferences are concerned. WWDC tends to go around E3, but that's no longer a thing. So we'll be focusing only on software and PC stuff. It seems like for this spring and early summer.
And last thing in the week ahead, Halo Infinite Season 2.
Yes. Now, not the show, because you still need to. We were going to talk about this. You still need to watch
uh,
the episodes.
uh,
This is actually for the game. Season two will be starting. I believe it's May 3rd, which will bringing a whole bunch of tweaks and weapons and vehicles and new ways to compete online. Again, these are seasonal and these are for multiplayer for most people. So you're not going to be getting any new content for single player, but you'll be getting some new guns, some new vehicles to kind of play around with your friends. And I believe they're trying to set this up so that it's very Fortnite-like. So we'll have seasons which will add new content along the way.
and that's it. I think that is everything we wanted to get to in week ahead. And what about your Lenovo Legion giveaway?
Yes, I don't. Let me see. Can you guys see? Let's see if we move the camera. That giant box back there is for somebody, some lucky gamer. There we go, right there. Yeah, I just finished my review of it. It is a decent computer. I mean, for free, it's an amazing computer. It has a RTX, no, GTX 1060 or something like that in there. It's got an NVIDIA, and it's got great cooling. And if you read the review, like I said, it's a good starter rig for people. It's a good casing, so you can add more memory to it. It's easy to get in and out of if you need to upgrade parts for it and things like that. So for anybody who I'll be setting up the giveaway and we'll be putting it on the website. You can also probably follow via Twitter as well. But we will be giving this away, and I think we'll announce it by next week, or maybe we'll give it 2 weeks. We'll give enough people enough chance to get in and try and win this rig and set up their new PC gaming rig or content created. It's great for that as well. If you are someone who is an artist or video content maker or something like that, this is also a great rig for something like that, especially for free.
And that's it. Time for the traditional outro.
Yeah, you can find me at Mindhead1 on Twitter, Kareem Anderson everywhere else. Where can people find you?
Or a back journey.
Yeah, and that's via Twitter, and I think your other social medias as well. Mostly we respond and we're active on Twitter. For those of you who are fond of gaming, you can find us on Pinterest as well. We have our great editor and writer Brad who keeps us up to date with gaming on there. You can go to Instagram if you want to just kind of keep up on things that are happening on the podcast itself. And for everything else, go to onmicrosoft.com. That's where you'll find all of our tutorials, our how-tos, our giveaways, stuff on the Windows Insider blog, all the good stuff. And you can also meet some of our new writers that we've just brought on staff as well. We would like you guys to all say hi to them and welcome them as you did with every other writer we've had before. For anything else, head up to Twitter and we try and keep you posted there as well.
And that's it. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you again soon. Same place, same time.
Yeah, thanks for spending some time with us. We hope to see you guys again next week.
Take care. Bye bye.